Something that's been on my mind constantly recently is the death of Kilmer. He was a pretty big icon to me. And I've had icons that were dead before and then icons that were alive. And he seems to be the first one in that alive category that has transitioned into the dead side. And I can't help it. I keep thinking about him. And I rewatched his documentary about his life, Val, which is a great documentary film, and his films as well from the past. And I can't help but notice how young and alive and good looking and clever and charming he was in the films and the interviews. But there's no way I could have known that had he not participated in those things, had he not made the movies, had he not done the interviews. If anybody ran into him on the side of a street before he passed away, they would have just seen an old decrepit man, in a bad state. But it's those movies that have preserved his memory. And I just think that's such a beautiful thing, and that's what art enables us to do, is to capture these memories and preserve them. And yeah, I've just been thinking about Val Kilmer a lot and how that man is gone.
I don't know who that is. I think I've heard of the name before, but I don't know who the person is. But I understand
Yeah,
the concept of watching somebody on a screen or on TV, finding out that they've passed and getting very attached to their story. I've had that with a few celebrities, not a lot, but a couple, especially when I hear about their stories. And unfortunately, in Hollywood, a lot of them met a tragic end and lived a very tragic life in the industry. So I can understand that feeling of I don't know. It's a weird thing to explain, but I remember just feeling like I wish I could have helped this person, even though I didn't know the person at all. And they're just a face on a film screen. But I know, for example, people like I don't know if you know him, but the actor River Phoenix or
yeah.
Corey Haim, Jonathan Brandis. These are all actors from the late 80s, 90s who unfortunately, sadly ended up passing away. And I don't know, just their stories always, it made me sad. It always sat with me. It was very depressing, and many of them were depressed themselves. I know that, for example, like River Phoenix died from an overdose, and Jonathan Brandis died by suicide. So all of these stories that I would listen to and I would watch their films and I would just know what was going on behind the scenes. It was always heartbreaking. And knowing, I don't know why, it's like this unrealistic desire to have helped the person. It's like, I wish I could have been there when they were struggling, when they were children and they experienced these, not all of them, but a couple of them, or one person specifically, like Corey Haim, experienced very like the dark side of Hollywood. And I used to always think, man, I wish I could have been there when that happened and helped this child. So, and it's weird to think like that because again, you don't know these people. And I don't know, it's just, I mean, it's nice to know that there's a level of empathy within us when we hear these stories. But yeah, I think you just grow attached when you hear the tragedies, but you also see the entertainment and the joy that they brought on screen. And it's even sadder when they're children, when they started off as children, knowing maybe because I'm also like a filmmaker, so I understand there's a responsibility within the adults that they should have protected them and they should have took care of them. But yeah, I mean, I feel with you on that, on that concept. So
You really did surprise me when you said you didn't know who Val Kilmer was, but you know that by itself is so interesting because it shows me a perennial truth about how hollow immortality really is. I
Hmm.
mean, Val Kilmer has participated in such incredible roles, in such incredible films. He was a true creative, a true artist.
It makes
He was
me
a
want to
true
Google.
bee. He pollinated with so many different big names and small names. I mean, he would. Did you say something?
I said I want to Google him now.
Oh, you want to Google him now? Yeah.
Um,
Um, he was the voice of the villain in Spider-Man: Edge of Time, the video game. I didn't even know that before. But even with all of these accomplishments that he's been a part of,
mhm.
you still don't know who he is. And that's the incredible thing. A person can do all these great things and people still won't know who they are. It's just a fact of life.